I could hear the sound of the flames. Looking back, the Hojo house was covered in tall flames that set it apart from the dense forest backdrop. I don't know what this theme is. That's fine. That was my past burning up behind me. My happy days in Hinamizawa were up in flames. In other words, this was a resetting ceremony. Starting now, Reina Ryuga would have to rise up and start over again. So, perspective shift. I sat down on my bike. Keiichi-kun's bike can stay where it is. He'll never ride it again. There's no point trying to hide it. More importantly, I still have something I need to do. Something I absolutely must do in order to reclaim my happiness.
Sayonara, Keiichi-kun. Sayonara, Mii-chan, Shii-chan, Satoko-chan.
I'm just turning it up for a minute to actually hear what this music is. Huh. Definitely different. Definitely different than what we're used to.
Sayonara. でも、私はまだ負けない。終われないから。
I opted to head in the direction away from my home. I steadily made my way up the hill. The goal was to reach higher ground. A hilltop with a nice view would be ideal for surveying the state of the village. I'll have to visit the Furude shrine once more. I was neither excited nor tense as I imagined what I was about to do. Rika-chan, I'm heading for you now. Sorry if I'm late. Wait patiently for Reina, okay? I'll help you too, Rika-chan. I'll set you free from Oyashiro-sama right away. The hatchet Keiichi-kun brought here was lying under the tarp in the cart. I wrapped the hatchet in the tarp and set it in the basket of my leg. After hiding the hatchet in the tarp, I couldn't help but chuckle.
ナタなんて大げさな武器。ケイイチ君には不似合いだよ。
Says the girl about half his size that wields it on a regular basis. I pedaled my bike while fighting the urge to laugh. I reached out to adjust the tarp while still pedaling, hoping to avoid letting anyone see the hatchet inside the basket. For some reason, I couldn't help but enjoy myself while pedaling my bike. Unable to hold it any longer, I began to laugh on my own. I might be everyone's savior. I'm rescuing everyone from endlessly enduring the curse of Oyashiro-sama.
リカちゃんも今レナが助けてあげるからね。
I held down the tarp to keep the hatchet secure while riding my bike as fast as possible. I encountered an unexpected sight at the shrine parking lot. Dozens of police cars were parked there with their lights flashing. Officers in uniform were running back and forth. It was a completely different scene compared to my visit this afternoon. Right. I visited here earlier in the afternoon to take care of Rika-chan. Rika-chan knew all our secrets. The way she manipulated people with her innocent face and sweet words, and occasionally talked down to us with that know-it-all look on her face. Honestly, the girl named Rika-chan was far stronger than she led people to believe. It seemed like she was able to see through everything. I planned to kill Rika-chan after school while she was alone at home. I hid under the stone steps and waited for her to come home, but Rika-chan was far too capable for that. While Rika-chan was climbing the steps, she leaned over the rail and called out to me.
レナ、こんなところで何をしてるのですか？リカちゃんに用があったんだ。
I lied to her right off the bat.
西宮殿に連れて行ってくれるかな。どうしても隠したいものがあるから。あそこなら誰にも見つからずに隠すことができるでしょう。
It was incredibly suspicious, a sudden request with no context. And even if Rika-chan got cautious and tried to run away, my next move was already decided. But no, the result was entirely different. Rika-chan made no effort to resist or flee. She simply nodded and turned her back, then began to speak.
同じことなのです。ここでレナが僕を殺しても殺さなくても結果は同じことなのです。
Well, why is everything red now? Because we're inside crazy Reina's head. Other than that, I'm not sure why they would paint everything red. Rika wore an expression suggesting she'd given up on everything while walking to the shrine grounds and unlocking the door to the ritual tool storehouse. I wasn't sure if I was more surprised or disappointed. Did she really think the ritual storehouse was such a trivial matter? Nah, Rika-chan should know it all too well. She probably knows everything about it.
レナがこれからしようとしていることもステップすべては決まっている通りにしかならないのです。
I was surprised at how quickly Rika-chan's words caused my face to tense up.
リカちゃんもそれが運命だっていうのかな。そうです。全部初めから決まっていることなのです。
Rika-chan said it again. I could feel the urge to kill bubbling up inside me. Destiny. If I was forced to live at the mercy of such a concept, there would be no reason to go on living. I'm going to fight. I'll take back my happiness with my own hands. The next moment, I heard a voice. Maybe people are starting to show up at the town hall for a meeting. So I took the key from Rika-chan's hand, locked her in the ritual storage house, and left the area. Rika-chan didn't fight at all. Accepting fate means admitting defeat. I'll come to kill you later, so please wait a little longer, Rika-chan. I gently walked down the stone steps towards the parking lot where I left my bike earlier. I could hear an uncountably large number of deep, hoarse voices. Is this some sort of prayer? There were so many people near the steps, it seemed like every elderly person in the village was gathered here. They were all rubbing their hands together, praying in the direction of the shrine.
かけまくもかしこみおやしろ狼様を沈めたまえ。広きや月見恵みをかたじけなみなつり。
I tried to gently speak to the old woman in front, but she was so intensely focused on her prayers that my voice didn't seem to reach her ears. I then tried calling out to the old woman next to her. The old woman looked back at me with frustration and rage for having interrupted her prayer. I quickly turned and looked away.
すみません。何かあったんですか？
わしは知らん。
The old man ran off and disappeared into the crowd. That old man seemed unusually uncooperative. What did I do? Why do you look at me with eyes like that? I found an old man sitting quietly a few steps away and called out to him in a soft voice.
何があったんですか？
たたりじゃ。たたりが起きたんじゃよ。
The elderly people nearby turned to look at me.
リカちゃまがお社様のお怒りに触れてしまわれたんじゃよ。わしらはもう終わりじゃ。ひなみ沢は終わりなんじゃ。
何を言ってるんですか？
Suddenly, an old woman standing nearby stretched out her wrinkly hand. Then she grabbed me by the wrist. Yeah, I know! This is still... We've gone 2 hours past the point where we thought this was going to wrap up soon, and it's still going. I immediately cried out. A sharp pain quickly coursed through my wrist. Let me go. The elderly people nearby all turned back toward me at once, staring at me with a stone-cold look in their eyes.
あんたもその目で見てきたらいい。あれがお社様のお怒りでなくて何だというのか。境内の賽銭箱の前で死んでおった。
Oh, now we know what Mion did before she contacted Keiichi.
腹を盾に裂かれておったんじゃよ。
So that's still a thing.
あれはたたりなんじゃ。
Rika-chan was dead and her stomach was sliced open? That can't be true, because Rika-chan should still be locked in the ritual storehouse.
あれはお社様のたたりなんじゃよ。 お社様のお社様のお社様の
My neck ached. The odor drifting around the vicinity was reminiscent of the scent of death. An old woman rubbing beads near her heart gradually raised her head. Then she slowly lifted her index finger to point. Her wrinkly index finger stopped directly aimed at my chest.
お社様のたたり。
It was like some creepy divination ritual.
もうやめて。
I tried to shake off the hand of the old woman who grabbed me. I needed to get out of here right away. However, the old woman continued tightly clenching my wrist.
離してってば。
I vigorously swung my arms back and forth. I shook them with enough force to knock the old woman down to the ground. I reached my hand out to help the old woman, but then stopped myself. On the far side of the steps, I noticed a man who wasn't around here, staring intently at me. Did he need something from me? The way he glared at me was intimidating, and after being flustered for a moment, I noticed. He was staring at something red. Keiichi-kun's blood was all over the front of my dress. When I stabbed Keiichi-kun with the kitchen knife in Satoko-chan's house, I did feel a warm, sticky sensation on my chest. Damn it! Why didn't I notice any sooner? I casually crossed my arms in front of my chest in an effort to conceal the blood. Anyway, I'm already running late. I suddenly started to feel uncomfortable about all the blood sucked to my dress. Yeah. Oops. How many people have already seen the trace of Keiichi-kun's blood on me? That old lady was pointing right at the blood. Just then, I noticed the man in the distance holding a hand to his ear and moving his lips.
竜宮レーナー発見しました。
Located Reina Ryugu. I could hear a response come in through the earphone, an outsider working for some organized group. No doubt about it, that man was a plainclothes police officer.
了解。
Just then, the detective and I made eye contact. He casually looked up to the sky to avert his gaze. That gesture all but confirmed he was monitoring me. Why? How did he know my name and face? What did he say Roger about? Was he speaking to prefectural police headquarters? Even if he started getting suspicious when he saw the blood, it didn't add up. It was weird that he knew my name. Extremely weird. I was filled with the unpleasant feeling that I was taking one step forward, 2 steps back. My nervous breakdown was partially alleviated when the voices of the elderly people reached my ears.
ミカちゃまはたたりに遭わねばならんようなことを知ってしまったのじゃ。お社様のたたりを一人で引き受けてくださったのじゃ。
I thought it was pathetic of the old folks to speak about it so callously. It seemed like the elderly people were quickly going less afraid of Oyashiro-sama. Because if the curse targeted Rika-chan, it meant that they had escaped harm themselves. They were egotistically regarding Rika-chan's death as a sign of their own safety. Only the wisdom of the elderly could allow them to live with such a vile worldview. Perhaps that's necessary in order to endure unimaginable situations. A skill necessary to go on living. But that way of thinking ultimately won't solve anything. What if that foul behavior is a source of Oyashiro-sama's anger and the true cause of the curse? Maybe Oyashiro-sama is killing all the people involved in order to punish them for something they shouldn't have done. If that's the case, I'll definitely be the next target. For killing Teppei, Hojo, Mi-chan, and Keiichi-kun. Reina Ryugu is a murderer. I jumped to my feet and took off running. My blood-soaked skirt fluttered about. I pushed aside all the elderly people standing in my way and then stopped to hop upon my bike. In the corner of my vision, I could see the plainclothes police officer's face turn bright red as he watched my movements. I couldn't care less. I won't allow the police to catch me. Oyashiro-sama will kill anyone else that gets involved. Once again, I'll have to rise up and grab a hold of my happiness. I took off on my bike at full speed. I raced through the forest road where the sun had already set. It was dark, so I couldn't see the road very well. I might topple over if I simply hit a pebble. But even so, I had to run away. I had to get out of there. I had to escape. A siren rang out behind my back. The flashing red lights of a patrol car lit up the dark forest road. I turned down a single-lane road that intersected the forest road. If I continue in this direction, I'll end up in Okonomiya. I might be able to escape if I disappear into the crowd of the city. However, even if I pedal my bike at full speed, there's no way I can outrun a car on this narrow road. What should I do? My foot managed to slip off the pedal in my confusion, and the bike started to slow down. I heard a strong voice calling out to me over the loudspeaker. It was a familiar voice.
沖宮署の大石です。捜査令状があなたに出ています。停止しなさい。繰り返す。リュウグウレイナ、停止しなさい。
He ordered me to stop, but I'd already resigned myself to never give up. So I began pedaling my bike at full speed once again. I pulled back on the handlebars to make a sharp turn towards the forest at full speed. My bike jostled on the rugged terrain. But even so, this was better than running on foot. I was better off heading in the forest where the patrol car couldn't follow. Right away, the path was blocked by tree roots and large stones that prevented me from riding my bike forward. That's all right. I expected as much. I tossed my bike aside along the bumpy trail. Then caught a glance at the hatchet wrapped in the tarp in the basket of my bike. I picked it up without hesitation. This is better than being unarmed. I ran and ran and ran. So far away. I sprinted through the dimly lit forest as fast as I could manage. I couldn't tell right from left or east from west. I couldn't hear anything except the sound of my own labored breath and leaves crunching underfoot. My legs got drenched in water up to my ankles as I charged through a stream. Is that the river flowing from Onigafuchi Swamp? If so, I haven't made it very far. How much farther is it to Okonomiya? I pushed myself to run even faster, but my feet got tangled. My calves were bulging from the fatigue, but wasting any time worrying about that would prove fatal. So I kept pumping my legs left and right, running like I was about to fall over. How far did I run? Before I realized that the surrounding area was completely silent. I couldn't hear the siren of the patrol car any longer. Maybe the patrol car didn't notice me take that sharp turn a little while ago. Even so, I can't get careless. I need to keep running until nobody can possibly follow. I was so exhausted that I wanted to drop the hatchet I was holding. This area looks somehow familiar. That's it. This looks like the forest where we chased down and killed Teppei Hojo. He was trying to flee, so I ran after him and swung my hatchet. I was the pursuer on that day, but today I'm the one on the run.
疲れちゃった。
I was suddenly struck by a bout of fatigue. I stopped running and walked 2 or 3 steps before losing all energy and collapsing on the spot. Chasing, running, killing, being killed. Changing the subject and object of those activities didn't alter the meaning much. This was all decided from the start. Reina, this is your destiny. The words Rika-chan and Keiichi-kun used earlier came back to me.
そっか。そうだよね。悪あがきなんて無意味だよね。レナ、もう疲れちゃった。ちょっとだけ目を閉じてもいいかな。
Nobody was there, but I insisted on talking anyway. That wasn't unusual. I've been living my life that way for a long time. There's nothing special about today. I'm lonely and enjoy being with people, but I'm unbelievably terrified of needing to depend on others. That's not limited to today. So I would talk to the other person living inside of me, a courageous person who always encourages me to do my best. By talking it out, I'm able to gradually calm myself and return to being the cheerful, stupid Reina while I'm around everyone else. That's right. Everyone's already gone. So there's no need to be stupid and cheerful anymore. I'm so tired. I tilted my head back. The massive moon was quietly looking down at me through the overgrown trees. A pleasant breeze blew along my side.
さーて、圭一さんはどこでございましょう。絶対に見つけ出してみせますことよ。
Huh? I heard a familiar voice.
どんなにお逃げになっても、私に目をつけられたらおしまいですわよ。
バカ、来るな！
I suddenly rose to my feet.
圭一君、さとこちゃん、まさか二人とも生きてたの？
Only inside your heart. I looked around the area, but I was just surrounded by a dark forest with occasional winds scattering the leaves. Was that a hallucination?
ばっかで。ケイちゃん、逃げる方向が間違ってるよ。そっち行ったらダメだって。鬼ごっこってのは体力勝負じゃなくて、ここ知力勝負なの。さとこ。
We keep going through this, too.
こっちなのですよ。
Once again, this is definitely a weakness in the writing.
絶対に逃がしませんことよ。向きになった聡子は動きが読みやすいですね。
This is probably a dream. I must still be sleeping in that forest. Everyone can have fun club activities together inside Reina's dreams. Hey, let Reina join in too. I came all this way to see you all, so let Reina play tag too. Eh? I was suddenly overcome with the urge to cry. But why? My heart was racing and my chest tightened. It hurt. I wanted to go back. I wanted things to go back to the way they were. I wanted to go back to those days when we had fun club activities every day. I wanted to go back to see Mi-chan and Keiichi-kun.
竜宮レイナはこの辺りに潜んでいるはずです。総力上げて探せ。草の根分けても絶対に探し出せ。
Huh? Whose voice is that? Rika-chan? Stoka-chan? Mi-chan? Shi-chan? Keiichi-kun? Then I opened my eyes. I'd quickly fallen asleep, leaning against a big tree. My cheeks were soaked. Huh? Was I crying in my dream? What did I see?
発見次第射殺。
Damn!
了解。
That imposing voice sent the chill down my spine. It seemed like there were a lot of them. I could hear several voices and a lot of footsteps, and heard intermittent mechanical sounds from their communications equipment. Where am I? Which way should I run? I walked softly, doing my best not to make a sound. I could see a bright light. There were a bunch of lights up ahead. It looked like the schoolyard. I might be able to reach the mountains from there. I clicked my tongue. Even though I was heading towards Okonomiya, I must have gotten turned around and ended up at the school. There were a lot of people coming and going at the schoolyard. I could see several trucks and vans and a bunch of strange people that looked like armed guards wandering around the schoolyard. A large number of unfamiliar people were hanging around the school. What the hell is going on?
いたぞ。
I heard a dry sound the same moment that a dazzlingly bright light was pointed at me. A gunshot. That was the first time in life I'd heard an actual gunshot. It was rather different from the movies. It sounded more like a firecracker. I heard it from a different direction this time. Apparently the enemies had surrounded me without noticing. Enemies? Would police officers really be so quick to fire at a suspect? Regardless, I need to get out of here, so I started running again. My feet slid on the ground and kicked up pebbles. I left my hatchet behind earlier. Should I go get it? What should I do? Given the situation, I hesitated to make a quick decision. It may have been difficult to accept that I was suddenly being shot at. I have to go back. I won't be able to fight without a weapon. Yeah, they've got guns! But when I calmed down, I realized that that hatchet was a poor weapon to use against enemies armed with guns. So I ran back to the road I came from without doubting myself. I noticed several men armed with guns running this direction. I didn't recognize their faces, and I couldn't understand why they were all dressed in dark outfits. But the one thing I did understand was that their muzzles smelled of gunpowder and were pointed right at me. So yeah, these are probably, the Yakuza. It's pretty clear. Even though I was able to keep calm, I still didn't know what to do. There was nothing else to do. The shot struck me. The shock made me feel like I was floating in the air. A strand of my hair gently fell down from the sky. The next moment, I tumbled to the ground. Yeah, she did kill me on. Some sharp pebbles cut into my cheeks, and I banged my ankle on a tree root. My body started rolling down the hill. I was rotating so fast I couldn't tell up from down. My limbs were being tossed around like a toy, and the ground continued beating on my defenseless body. Is this the curse of Oyashiro-sama? No way. It couldn't be like this. But then, who are those people? I hit my head on the trunk of a massive tree and finally stopped rolling. Is this the end? Am I gonna die right here? My whole body felt hot, especially my arms. They were burning up, so hot it felt like they were about to come off. The palm of my hand was slimy. I realized what it was without looking. It was blood. Blood was pouring out of me. When I looked, I saw blood dripping from my right shoulder all the way to my hand. The blood was pouring profusely from my upper arm, spurting with every pulse. My arm was shot. But it was just my arm, right? Major artery, it sounds like. I gently tried moving my ankle and it moved. So I can still walk. I can't let myself give in to Oyashiro-sama. I can still fight. Another rush of energy suddenly came to me when I realized there was still hope of survival. I put my left hand on my knee and staggered to my feet. I won't give in. Let's go. Start walking. And shortly after I started walking, it was close by. Just as I heard those noises, an athletic-looking man was rolling on the ground toward me. I nearly shouted, but I caught myself and suppressed the urge. Then he tumbled to my ground and right at my feet, and I noticed it was a policeman in uniform.
これもお社様のたたりなの?
My head was spinning, but I desperately tried to comprehend the situation. Did Oyashiro-sama kill a police officer? Why? Because of the curse? No way. That didn't sound right.
村には帰るな。
I heard a voice coming from the officer at my feet. His stomach was gleaming with a dark, damp substance. The man was on the verge of death. I knew that instinctively.
南沢から離れろ。
I cautiously sat down beside the police officer. This man is going to die soon, so it'll be alright. I convinced myself of that as I moved my head closer to the policeman. The officer was coughing up blood as he squeezed out a few more words.
猛毒ガス鬼が撃つのは村全員死んだ。
Okay, so hang on. If the toxic gases killed everyone in the village, why are they still hunting her shoot to kill? If they're in black suits, they aren't police officers. So they're likely Yakuza. Why would the Yakuza be killing? Why does it feel like I've got the entire puzzle except like one piece to figuring out what the hell just happened? It's like there's like one piece missing here that I'm not linking everything up. It's not the police, because the policeman's sitting here warning her to get the hell away, and the policeman got shot. But the Yakuza, I mean, you know, they would be kind of concerned with other things if Hinamizawa. About to release the gas? The police? If that's the case, there's some massive infighting going on in the police department. And the Yakuza wouldn't kill everyone in the village. Now, there's some. Why would they do that? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, that's kind of their seat of power. That's kind of like the, I mean, the Sonozakis kind of fought tooth and nail to keep that place, you know, from being used as a dam. It doesn't make any sense for them to want to burn it to the ground now. Feels like I'm missing something. What am I missing?
ひなみざわ終わりおやしだり
After that, I could only hear the whistling sound of his breath.
ちょっとどういうことなの？毒ガスって？
I shook the police officer by the shoulders. He said the toxic gas was released from Onagafuchi swamp and all the villagers were already dead. Is it also part of the Shiro-sama's curse?
さあ、学校に知らない人がいっぱいいたのはそれと関係があるの？
Wait. The strangers at the school. Isn't that like the government response team that Keiichi ran into when he came back? The emergency response team or whatever it is that got sent by the government? Are we dealing with a goddamn government conspiracy? A government cover-up type thing? It just seems too easy. Yeah, the SDF is like a SWAT team or something like that, from what I've gathered. Okay. So let's see. If I'm right at this, after the, okay, it's just the army. Fair enough, government, military. Fair enough. So, hear me out. We know what happened around the dam project originally. That the, the government said they gave up on the whole thing. They shut down the project because, the minister's grandson got kidnapped. But who's to say they aren't petty enough to hold a plan in place where they concoct some freaking scheme to wipe all the residents of the village out, then they can go ahead and build their dam anyway. I'm going to be very disappointed if it's that, because it's so simple an explanation. Huh. Oh well. It's probably not. Yeah, and historically it does happen, and it is, that's why it's hitting me. It's far too plausible. I shook his shoulders even more.
ねえ、みんな死んだってどういうこと？ねえ、教えてください。ねえ。
But the officer's neck just shook from the force. His eyes were open, but they were no longer looking at anything. He's been dead for a while now. I have no time to waste talking to corpses, so I gently set the corpse down and took a deep breath. The curse of Oyashiro-sama? Don't be ridiculous. That didn't align with the will of Oyashiro-sama at all. So, what killed him? I held down the blood of my arm as I rose to my feet and began walking again. I recognize these mountains. If I cut through here, it shouldn't take long. Yeah. Funny how that's happened twice now, hasn't it? Both Keiichi and Reina both have fallen asleep just outside the toxic area for a day, and Keiichi was in the path of where it should have gone if it really was from the swamp. I'm liking my theory. I'm just waiting for the game to disprove it now. So I kept walking. I kept walking under the cover of darkness. Once in a while I could hear gunshots off in the distance. Maybe they were chasing a field rabbit or something, thinking it was me. Either way, I was grateful. I cradled my battered body and regulated my breathing to avoid making any noise as I continued walking forward. That police officer must have been shot by mistake, right? Suddenly, suspicion started bubbling up inside me. At that point in time, they'd already shot me. There were some other key points, but I was definitely shot. The enemy should have known this, but even so, they shot at that policeman. The officer and I looked completely different and were wearing completely different clothes. My heart was throbbing, and it just wasn't just because of my injuries. I had no doubt that something mysterious was going on, but I had no idea what it could be. An entire village annihilated by a gas disaster? Toxic gas was pouring through the village while I was running through the forest? If that's the case, will it kill me too? Something crunched under the scraggly soles of my feet. It was an empty can. Before I realized it, I'd arrived at the garbage mountain. I headed straight to the station wagon. When I opened the sliding door and found my favorite cushions neatly lined up, I felt relieved. I made it here safely. I leaned against the seat and wiped my wound with the towel. Once I applied some pressure on my arm, the pain started to recede. I'd never brought a first aid kit here. I'd have to go home to get one. I thought that, but once I sank into the seat, it seemed like it'd be difficult to get up again. All the fatigue that had been building up finally released. It'll be okay for me to rest here a little while, right? This is my secret hideout. Nobody should be able to find me here. It's my territory, my safe zone. If I had to die from some gas disaster, I want to die sleeping here. I cautiously closed my eyes while thinking that. My throbbing nerves started up again. I definitely heard a sound out in the darkness just now. I held my breath for a moment. There was no reply. Is somebody hiding out there? I held my breath and took a look around. I could faintly hear a sound. I'd like to turn on the lamp to get a better look at the surroundings, but that would only give me away my location to the enemy. So I concentrated on looking around in the dark, desperately surveying the area. Who's hiding out there? Did you come here to find me? How'd you know I'd be here? Eventually, my eyes got used to the darkness, but I thought it was strange. Something was nagging at the corner of my mind. Something seemed off. It was strange. It wasn't the sound of a person. It was the sound of papers rubbing together. What a relief. I looked down at the source of the sound.
これって、それじゃまさか。
I need to get going. I have to tell someone about this. No matter what it takes, I need to let someone know. I stretched my hand out into the darkness to grab the frame and pull myself out of the station wagon.
撃たれたことすらすぐにはわからなかった。でも意識が急に重ったるくなって、それから吸い込まれるように眠気が襲ってきて、覚悟していた痛みよりも焼けるような熱さが全身を駆け巡っていった。あの子たちは 見つからずに逃れることができただろうか。この流れのたどり着く先はどこだろうか。
Yep, should have stayed where you were.
忘れた。お願い。あいつら以外の人なら誰でもいい。あの子たちを見つけ出して、そして受け取ってください。こんな悲しい運命が私で終わりますように。どうかこれに気づいたあなた、真相を解き明かしてください。これはたたりなんかじゃない。それだけが私の願いです。
Yep, those words again. Bwom. And that is apparently the ending to the second of the 4. And I'm pretty sure that was Tsukiotoshi. Pretty sure. But yeah, as you might have noticed, my throat has been struggling mightily for like the past hour of this. My throat feels itchy enough right now that it feels like I need to go down into a do I still have tips? That's a good question. A whole whopping 5 of them. Oh yeah, we can do this. The alternate end that we didn't get to see because we just now finished Tsukiotoshi. Let's actually do that.
すみません。もうそろそろ。
Keiichi lived, didn't he? The nurse watching the exchange near the entrance timidly called out to Uishi and Akasaka. Akasaka looked over his shoulder and nodded, then put a hand on Uishi's shoulder and spoke.
大石さん、今日はこのくらいにしておきましょう。
すみません。あと少しだけお願いします。
Or did we already do this? Now maybe this is the same setting but a slightly altered end. Then Uishi pulled a plastic evidence bag out of his handbag. Inside of that was a lightly stained beret.
園崎美音さん、この帽子に見覚えはありませんか？
Yeah, he didn't hand her a hat the last time either. Uishi set it down by Mion's knees in a rough gesture. That instant, the playing cards fell from Mion's hands, but Uishi didn't focus on that. Instead, he moved in closer to gaze into Mion's eyes and inquire.
見たことありますよね。いや、あなたは絶対覚えているはずだ。これはあなたのお友達だった竜宮レナさんがいつもかぶっていた帽子ではありませんか。これはですね、ひなみ沢村を流れる川の下流から発見されたものです。木箱に入って流れてきたものを釣り人が発見してくれました。ハムスターの死骸が入ったカゴと一緒にね。
Oh, okay. Whether Mion was listening to Oishi's words or not, she was staring intently at the hat with a vacant look in her eyes. Her expression was devoid of animation, as if her emotions had broken down. It was hard to tell if she would respond or not, but Uishi steeled himself and called out to her with all his might. I guess. I don't know how.
わかりますか？ この帽子が一緒に入っていたということは、竜宮レナさんがその木箱を川に流したということだと考えられるのです。しかしその意図がわからない。でもあなたならこれに込められたメッセージがわかるはずだ。いつも一緒に遊んでいた友達のあなたなら。お願いです、園崎美音さん。ひなみ沢に何が起こったのか。竜宮レナさんは何かを伝えようとした。
And it said it was an alternate ending to the other one.
これを解き明かせば、この大災害の秘密に少しでも迫ることができるはずなんです。だから目を覚ましてください。
Actually, if they're not... hang on. No, the reason you would bring something like this up is if you're trying to use this as a clue towards the overall scheme of the game. But it wouldn't make any sense whatsoever if you saw it before you saw the events that transpired in whatever what we just watched was. It wouldn't make any sense if you saw it before then, but now maybe it's supposed to put 2 and 2 together for you. Or actually, lead you to where the plus sign to add 2 and 2 together is.
Keiichi-san!
Oishi put his hands on Mion's shoulders as his voice roared. The moment the nurse saw that, she pulled his oversized body away from Mion.
乱暴はやめてください、刑事さん。
大石さん、落ち着いてください。
Oishi instinctively tried to shake the nurse off, but he returned to himself after Akasaka stepped in. Then all the strength in his shoulders receded.
大丈夫ですか、園崎さん。もういい加減にしてください。今日はもうお一人願いますか。
すみません、やりすぎました。興奮してしまって。
こんな乱暴なことをするようでしたら、今後の面会は一切お断りさせていただきます。ここは病院で、この人は患者さんなんですよ。それを。
看護師さん、この人はひなみ沢で大勢の人を亡くしています。そのあたりの事情をどうかご理解ください。
And whatever's going on, local PD has no knowledge of whatever happened in there.
お願いします。
The nurse was agitated, but Akasaka's intervention somehow managed to smooth things over. And then, when Akasaka turned to him and flashed a signal, Uishi gently nodded.
園崎美音さん、その帽子はここに置いていきます。また明日来ますので、何か思い出したら教えてください。それでは。
Then, Uishi stepped out of the hospital room with Akasaka.
まったく。大丈夫ですか、園崎さん。
そうか。
園崎さん。
Mion was sitting silently, staring blankly at the hat resting by her knees, then suddenly raised her head and spoke up. The light in her eyes finally returned.
看護師さん、お願い。さっきの刑事さんを呼び戻して。まだ遠くに行っていないはずだから。
どうしたのです、園崎さん。それにあなた、記憶が。
Go get the detectives!
わかった。わかったんだ。レナの伝えたかったことが。ひなみ沢で大災害なんて起きなかったんだよ。だからお願い、早く呼び戻して。
No.
わかりました。ちょっと待っていてくださいね。
レナ、あんた命をかけて伝えてくれたんだね。受け取ったから。私確かにあんたのメッセージ受け取ったから。
Mion held the hat in the plastic bag to her chest and tightly embraced it. And then, knowing the filthy stain on the hat was a blood stain, she began spilling tears while thinking of her friend. Then the next morning, at 5:17 a.m., Mion Sonozaki was pronounced dead as a result of acute heart failure. No. No, 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 no. Okay. Okay. Yeah, my throat is not feeling good. So I am going to end it here. On that note, next Sunday we will return and start, because I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. Oh, wrong one. No, I'm not about to say mean words. I'm kind of mad that I may have actually figured out the mystery. I'm kind of mad about that. But we'll see what's going on with Somotsushi next Sunday. And hopefully this will have totally passed and I will be able to actually go the full 4 hours. But yeah, until then, I'm calling it here. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for putting up with this level of nonsense. We will return and dive back into more nonsense and see what alternate timelines we uncover this time. So again, thanks for joining me. I will be back next week. Later all.